called it the One Day in the Life of a Young Leaders Coach, because you are all coaches or people that are going to help the coach. But we'll start a bit before that. Before you're going to start, just before you're going to start the program, what do you need to do? There are some preparations that you need to do. For example, first, it is very important that you make a team in a young leaders coaches team. So don't be a coach for yourself at the facility, but make a team from 2, 3, 4 people. So you have a klankbord that you can talk about what you're going to do in the lessons, or maybe if there is a child with a problem, so that you can help each other. So make a young leader coaches team, and in each facility, you should have at least 2 young leader coaches just to help each other. If you make the team, you have to consider the logistics. And in that, I mean, how many participants do you want to have? Which age, so which level do you want to start? Do you want to start only with children at the first level? Or do you also want to have all the children? It's important that you know that on forehand. Make a year plan of the batches, that you say, okay, it's we're starting now, well, let's say in March. So we do 1 batch before the summer holiday, then during the summer holiday, we don't do anything. And then after the summer holiday, we do 2 batches, for instance. So that you know on forehand what you are going to do, because the parents are going to ask you about it. What are you going to do? Then if you know that, how many participants do you want? What age do you want? How are you going to do it? Which batch are you going to start? Then you organize a meeting for the parents, because most of the time the children really like to do the Young Leaders program, but the parents, well, maybe they have to pay for the program, or well, it's in time investment. That's so easy it is. And so make a meeting for the parents, that that you can tell what Young Leader program is, about the idea behind it, is what Theodore just told you, but also practical things. When is the lesson? Is it on Saturday? Is it on Wednesday? Is it 1 hour? Is it 2 hours? So that you can tell the parents what you want.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you slow down and to give a little bit time, because Vivian is translating, so
yeah,
we have a little bit of time. Thank you.
Oh, that's hard for me, Theodore, but okay. And of course, you can get this presentation, of course. In the coach manual, there are 4 levels for 4 different age levels, but in every level we have 9 badges, and one batch consists of about 6 lessons, and so you do 1 batch at a time, and they have 6 lessons. So, well, most of the time it's in 1 week, one lesson in a week. So then you need about 6 weeks. But well, I don't know how it's in your country, but here in the Netherlands, it's we have a holiday, or the grandmother has her birthday, or the child is ill. So most of the time we say take 8 or 10 weeks for 1 batch, because then you can you can give the children some repetitions, that they can learn much more. So with your Young Leaders Coaches team, take 1 batch on forehand before you start and say, okay, lesson 1, what are the goals of the lesson, and what do we need to prepare to have the children entertained? Okay, lesson 2, what are the goals and what are we going to do in that lesson? So please take all the 6 lessons and prepare them before you start, because you have to make sure that the young leader coaches know what are the goals of the lesson, what should the young leaders be able to do when they finish the batch. So that's very important. And also very important is, when are the young leaders good enough that they can get the badge? What do they need to do or show or know before they can get the badge? Are there any questions? Then let me hear. Okay, I'm going to the next slide. If you did all your preparations right, it's time to start the first batch. And of course, it's always a bit stressing, but let's do it. Starting the first batch. You did the parent meeting, and a lot of children said, yes, I'm very enthusiastic and I want to start. And on forehand, you know, am I starting only on level 1? Or am I starting, there are different ages. So I can start at level 1, at level 2 and level 3. So you know which children are going to start. So the next step is to allocate these children to the appropriate level for them. And it's not so bad if it's not right at the first, in the first time. You can always change that, of course, because the coach is the one who says, you should be here. You know that already. You're having experience, so you can start in that level. Just look at the child. You know what the child knows about horses, knows about all the things around it. And then you can say, okay, you should be in level 1 and you should be in level 2. Because the badges are divided into teams, you can have participants from different levels work on the same team. And so you can make it challenging and suitable for each level. In practice, we see that most of the time, the young leader facilities start with the theme of stable, because the stable badge is the one with horses, and that's what, of course, the children like, and that's their passion. So then they're enthusiastic and they can do a lot around their horse. Especially for the youngest children, so that's about 8 to 10, it's helpful for them to first feel comfortable and at ease in the environment while they're busy with all the things that you want to do with them. And Catherine will talk about that later a bit more, but a safe environment is important, that they can have fun and enjoy the Young Leaders Program. Okay, so now you know these children are on that level, these children are on that level. We know what we're going to do, and then we're going to start. So the next one is the lesson itself. You all have a coach manual, I think, and we have various lesson suggestions per batch outlined in the coach manual. Okay, so the lesson starts, the children come in, and you can choose to get all the children together, or that you say, we start, there is level 1, there is level 2, and there is level 3. But it's pleasant for the children, especially when you're just starting, to start the day, the lesson together every time, even if you're doing that for 3 to 4 years already. Start together and briefly discuss what you want to do during that lesson and what you want to achieve during that lesson. Most of the time, we start with a bit of theory, very short, because, well, especially the younger children, they don't have a very much concentration, but a bit of theory, maybe about the hoof, what is a hoof, how does it work, what should they know? I mean, something about a bit of theory. Then you let them go to the stables and you give them a group activity so that they can, well, look at the hoof maybe, and that they can tell each other how the hoof is what the hoof is all about. So they can just do something. They should really be active, not too much theory, be active. And afterwards, get the children back together and conclude with a drink and a snack, and ask, did you like the lesson? A small informal evaluation. Especially for the young children, most of the time it's needed to have a timeout in the lesson, a time breakdown. Because the younger children, well, they cannot concentrate too much, even when they're busy with the horses. So just give them half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, take them back into your facility, give them a drink, let them run around a bit, and then you go to the next part. Because they need to, well, have their time off. Most of the time, a lesson is about 1 hour to 1.5 hours. That depends on the activities and the theory that you do. It's interesting to have that brief evaluation moment, because you want to know what they thought about the lesson and what they want to learn more, maybe. So first do it writing, that they write it down, because maybe they're a bit hesitant to tell what they liked of the lesson, and maybe have some critics about the lesson before everybody. But you notice that later on, the children know each other so well, and there is a safe environment, and they dare to do it just by talking in the verbal evaluation. So that's the lesson itself. So it's about 1 hour to 1.5 hours. Tell about the goals, do a bit of theory, then go out, do some practical work, let them come in together again, and finish it with the whole group together. And then you can think, is the group one level, or do I do all the levels together? I have some tips and tops for you. Children need, because the children are all kind of children, of course. So children need to have some structure and clarity. Make them clear who, what, where, when, and how. Who is going to do what do they have to do, how many times do they have to do that, where do they do that? So make the structure clear, and be very clear about what you expect of them. Very important, make it clear to the children that not everything needs to be perfect, because perfection isn't always possible. Well, a lot of the time it's not possible. So please, it's not bad to make mistakes. Mistakes are the only way that you learn. So let them make all the mistakes that they need to learn. Perfection is not necessary. Introduce a variety in the lessons. So make it every lesson different, so that they, well, stay enthusiastic. And it's also important that the children can have a say for themselves, so that they can have feedback for the lesson or have input in the lessons, even if they're only 8 years old. Let them have their say. You learn, yeah, well, if you know repetition, I think you all know that. Repetition is very important to learn and let it really sink down what they've learned. So repetition is significant strength in this program. So every level, the themes are coming back, and every level they have a bit of repetition and going deeper. So repetition is important. So don't rush into the next step or level too quickly. Encourage children in a positive way. So don't be angry. Don't say you're doing it absolutely wrong. Say, yeah, well, you're doing it fine. Maybe you can do this better, but stay positive. Encourage the children in a positive way, so they can dare to step out of their comfort zones, and so that they dare to do new things. And above all, feedback to the children should always be positive and constructive. And very, very important, fun must always come first. Well, the horse, of course, has to come first, but then the fun of the children has to come first. If they have fun in their lessons, they learn much more. Still no questions? Very good. Okay, so you have the badge. Let's say the stable badge. You did all the 6 lessons, and well, then it's time to award their badge. And it's very good to celebrate the awarding, because during the lessons, the parents are not there. Well, the children are doing a lot for themselves, so a lot of people the other people in the facility also don't know so much about what they're doing, and the young leaders work towards earning a badge over a few months, so it's quite a lengthy period. So it's extra special to celebrate the awarding of the first badge in a grand manner. That's very nice. You can involve the children with it to brainstorm about how you want to organize this moment, because you have a stable badge, but you also have other badges. So let the children be involved in what you want to do to show to the public, to the parents. For instance, you can have participants explain their badges in groups, or collaborate with the young leader coaches to demonstrate them. So they've learned a lot in these 6 lessons. And well, I've seen it for myself in the Netherlands. It was so nice to see an 8-year-old boy say to his parents, "Now you have to weep the stable here. You have to weep the stable. And you know why you have to weep the stable? You have to weep the stable because of this, and this." And the parents really looked, huh? Okay. He was really, he was always a bit shy, and now he's telling us what we should do. And it was in the awarding of the badge. So it was very interesting to see that even if you give the children these tools and give them the responsibility, they love to do that. Maybe it's nice to invite a guest speaker to talk about the theme or demonstrate something. And please invite the parents and the grandparents to this special occasion, because the parents don't know what the children do, but they see that they grow. So they really like to know what you are doing with these kids to let them grow. So invite them to the badge awarding. In this way, you keep the parents and the grandparents engaged in the children's learning process. And one other thing, you also expand the knowledge of the parents and the grandparents about various topics related to horses or ponies. So for our social license in the equine industry, it's also important that so much people as possible know about horses. Most of the time, it's also interesting to have the young leader coaches have a brief talk for a specific child, for all the specific childs, or maybe a small note that you can give it to them. Parents often greatly appreciate this, and it keeps them engaged with your business. And also, the young leaders like it very much that you give them individual time, that you talk about what they've learned. The young leaders really love that, and they really get self-conscious from that. If you let them help with organizing the awarding of the first batch, you engage them in competencies such as organizing, informing, presenting, collaboration, and that are all competencies that they learn during the Young Leaders Program. So if you let them organize, brainstorm, and organize this moment, you have a lot of competencies covered already. And most of the time, they unknowingly learn a lot and become involved in your business because they feel responsible also for your facility. And they also appreciate their first badge for their passport. So that's an important moment. Well, then it's the first batch is done, then you're ready. And it's time to evaluate with your young leader coach team, the 2 or 3 or 4 coaches that you have on your facility to evaluate what their experience was, how was the group dynamics, how did it go with the different levels? Did they work together well, or should we just keep the levels separate? Were the lessons good prepared? Was there enough variety? Did the children like the guiding? Should we have some more evaluations? Was the intensity of time good enough? Was 1 hour or 1.5 hours, was that enough? Or should we make it shorter or longer? Or should we have them give them a time breakdown? And was it difficult enough? Because for the first level, it's fun, but especially the third level, they know quite a lot about horses already. So please give them difficult tasks to do in that third level. Were the participants, were the young leaders, were they enthusiastic? Now, most of the time they are, but also were their parents satisfied? Because that's also very, very important. And then you look to the next batch. Okay, the next batch is the health batch. I say something. Okay, what are we going to do in the health batch? And then you start the cycle again. So that's 1 day in the life of the young leader coach. Are there any questions? Could you understand it? I stopped the sharing.
Now is the right moment to ask Fenna, because you see that enthusiasm is not only among the participants, but also it's also among the tutors. And this is what we witnessed in the Netherlands, the enthusiasm on every level, in every club. So it was really nice. So please, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. Fenna, do you combine different afternoons in 1 day, or you have every afternoon on separate day?
Say it again, a theme or level?
Do you combine different afternoons in one batch afternoons, or maybe afternoons from different batches?
Well, we have a lot of facilities, of course, that are doing this, and some facilities do only 1 batch at a time, and there are some facilities that do 2 batches at a time. So, and then you look, oh, then it's nice to combine these batches, and then 1 week they do 1 batch, and 1 week they do the other ones, and they just, so you can do that, yeah.
Fenna, thank you very much. And
have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, and see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.